I found out that my husband is a dirty cheater, so I'm going to do the best thing that I can think of possibly. I'm going to get revenge, but it's not going to be your average run-of-the-mill type of revenge. Oh, no, no, no. I'm going for his entire livelihood, his entire career that he's built up from the ground up. I'm going to destroy him, and you guys are going to witness it. Hey, I'm a 28-year-old female, and I've been married for what feels like a lifetime. But in reality, it's only been 4 years. When I met my partner, it was like stepping into a dream. We clicked instantly, and everything just felt right. He was charming, funny, and had this infectious energy that drew me in. Fast forward a bit, and we're saying I do in a quaint little chapel surrounded by our closest friends and family. It was magical, really. But fast forward to now and things feel different. It's like we're on parallel paths that never seem to intersect. We've talked about having kids, and I've always been open about wanting a family, but whenever I bring it up, he just brushes it off, saying he's not ready yet. I get it. I do. Kids are a huge responsibility, and I would not want to rush into it either. But it's not just about the kids lately. I've been feeling like we're drifting apart, and he's always busy with work, and when he's home, he's either glued to his phone or buried in some project. I try to engage, to find the spark that we once had, but it's like he's in his own world, and it's not just the lack of attention that's bothering me. There's this gnawing suspicion that's been growing inside of me. I hate to admit it, but I've been wondering if there's someone else. He's become so secretive, always tilting his phone away from me, quickly shutting down his laptop when I walk into the room. I've never been the jealous type, but these little things are adding up, and it's hard to shake off the feeling that something's not right. We used to talk about everything, from our wildest dreams to our deepest fears, and now it's like pulling teeth to get him to open up about his day. I've tried to bridge the gap, suggesting date nights or weekend getaways, but there's always an excuse. Too busy, too tired, maybe next time. I've started to question everything about our relationship. Was I too naive to think that the honeymoon phase would last forever? Is this just what marriage is like after a few years? I find myself replaying our conversations, trying to pinpoint where things started to change. Was it something I said, something I did, or is it all in my head? Our friends think that we're the perfect couple. They see the social media posts, the anniversary celebrations, the carefully curated glimpses into our life, but behind closed doors, it's a different story. It's like living with a stranger, someone who knows all your secrets but feels miles away. I've thought about confronting him, but the fear of what I might discover holds me back. What if my suspicions are correct? What if they're wrong? I'm stuck in this limbo. I'm torn between wanting to know the truth and fearing what it might mean for us. I miss the days when it was easy, when love felt effortless, and now every smile feels forced. Every conversation feels strained, and I find myself longing for simple things, a spontaneous hug, a shared laughter moment, genuine connection. So here I am, pouring my heart out to strangers, wondering if I'm overreacting or if my gut feeling's trying to tell me something I'm too scared to face. I guess what I'm really asking is, am I wrong for feeling like my marriage is slipping away? I don't want to be the jealous wife, the one who lets insecurity ruin everything we've built. But I also can't shake the feeling that we're on the brink of something, and I'm not sure if it's the beginning or the end or just a rough patch that we need to get through. Is there something more going on that I'm just not seeing? Update number 1. Hey guys, it's been a couple of weeks since I poured my heart out about the growing distance in my marriage. I wish I could say things have improved, but if anything, they've only become more stressful. I've been wrestling with my doubts, turning over every interaction in my mind, trying to decipher what's going on. In an attempt to break through this wall that's been growing between us, I decided to try a different approach. I thought maybe if I showed more affection and made more of an effort to reignite the spark, things might start to get better. So one night, after he informed me that he'd be working late again, I planned a surprise. I cooked his favorite meal, set the table with candles, and admittedly started on the wine a bit early to steady my nerves. As the evening stretched on, the candles burned lower, the bottle of wine grew emptier, my anticipation turned into disappointment. He's late. Later than usual. When he finally waltzed through that door, he looked exhausted, hardly noticing the effort I put in. I tried to brush off the hurt I had, keeping my voice light as I invited him to sit down to eat. Dinner was quite the affair. I made small talk, asked about his day, but his response was short, distracted. Even I tried not to let it get to me, tried to focus on the positives, and here he was. We're here. We're together. And maybe, just maybe, this could be a turning point. Well, after dinner, feeling a little tipsy and a lot hopeful, I decided to make a move. I thought a bit of physical affection might break down some barriers, remind us of the connection that we once had, but when I tried to get close, to initiate something more, his reaction was like a slap in the face. He pushed me away, not roughly, but firmly enough to send a clear message. "Not tonight," he said, with his voice tired, but also, it sounded like he was annoyed. Well, I was stunned. I was hurt, blossoming into something sharp, and this wasn't just rejection, it felt like a confirmation of all my fears. The rest of the night I was an utter mess. The hurt turned to anger, then to confusion. Why would he push me away like that? What was going on with him, with us? My mind raced with possibilities, each more unsettling than the last, and I lay awake that night long after he had fallen asleep, staring at the ceiling, and I could not stop thinking about how things used to be, how he used to look at me, touch me, and now there was nothing but this cold, empty space. The next week I was a wreck. I could not focus on anything, could not shake off the feeling of rejection, and I just replayed the previous night over and over, analyzing every word, every gesture even. Had I misread the situation? Was he really just tired? Was I trying too hard, or was it something more, something else? Well, as you can imagine, I started to notice little things. Maybe they weren't even happening, but it was little changes in his behavior that I'd brushed off before. Some people call that red flags. He was more guarded, more irritable. His phone was always on silent now, always face down, and there was these moments, fleeting glances or shifts in his expression, that made me feel like he was hiding something. So I tried talking to my friends about it, but they just didn't get it. They saw us as the perfect couple, could not imagine that anything serious might be wrong. Oh, they would tell me every marriage has its ups and downs, give it time. This did not feel like an up and down. This felt like something fundamentally broken. Whatever it is, I'm going to get to the bottom of it and figure out what's going on. Update number 2. 3 weeks have passed since I last shared the growing chasm in my marriage. I've been riding this wild roller coaster, caught between hope and despair, but recently something happened that changed everything. And now I'm here trying to make sense of it all. It started with a message from a stranger, someone named Chai. At first I was skeptical, even a bit freaked out. I mean, who was this person and why were they reaching out to me? I racked my brain around it, trying to place her, but came up blank. She was a complete stranger, or so I thought. But then she mentioned she needs to talk to me about my husband. Well, this sent a chill down my spine. Despite my doubts and fears about him, a part of me still hoped I was wrong. That it was all just a rough patch, but this felt serious. So I agreed to meet her. We decided on a small breakfast place, somewhere public, not too crowded. The whole way there, my mind was racing with possibilities. What could she possibly tell me about my husband that I didn't already know? Was I about to have all my worst fears confirmed? Chai was already there when I arrived, looking as nervous as I felt, and we ordered coffee, and then without any preamble, she drove straight into it. She told me she's been seeing my husband for a while, completely unaware that he was married. My heart sank with every word. She described their relationship, the lies that he told her, the promise he made. It was like listening to a parallel version of my life, a mirror image of the love and trust I once felt. I was in shock, barely able to process what she was even saying. But then something else kicked in. It was some sort of sense of validation. All those doubts and suspicions I've had for this long about my husband weren't just insecurities or paranoia. They were real. He's been cheating on me, living this double life while I sat at home, questioning my own sanity. Chai was incredibly supportive, which was surreal in itself. Here was this woman, a stranger until today, comforting me over the betrayal that we both suffered at the hands of the same man. She was angry too, feeling duped and used, just like me. As we talked, a strange bond seemed to form. Two victims of the same betrayal finding solace in a shared pain. I was feeling anger, rage, and a sense of solidarity even. So we start talking about Payback. I wasn't sure what form to take yet, but I knew I could not just let it go. This wasn't about revenge only. It was about reclaiming some sense of control over my life, my dignity. So that night I go home. I acted like everything was normal. Well, my husband had no idea that I knew, and I wanted to keep it that way at least for now. I needed time to plan, to figure out my next steps, and Chai was right there with me, just a message away, ready to help in whatever way she could. But amidst the swirling thoughts of revenge, another realization hit me. This wasn't just a matter of getting back at him. This was a broken marriage, a life built on lies. So obviously, the next move is to look into some divorce lawyers. Trying to understand my options, it was daunting. Thinking about starting over at this chapter of my life, as long as I spent with this jerk. But what else could I do? How could I stay with someone who's deceived me so openly and just doesn't care? So, here I am, guys, standing at my crossroads of life, betrayed, hurt, and also strangely feeling empowered. I'm not the victim of my husband's deceit. I'm a woman who's about to take control of her own destiny. Update number 3. 3 weeks have passed since that fateful meeting with Chai, where my world was turned upside down. In that time, we hatched a plan, I'd call it a scheme, that would serve as the ultimate payback for the betrayal we both endured. Now I sit here, a mix of exhilaration and disbelief coursing through me as I recount the events that unfolded. Our plan was audacious, perhaps a bit theatrical, but it felt right. It wasn't just about embarrassing him or making a scene. It was about reclaiming our power, about showing him that his actions do have consequences. We decide to expose him at his own game. Guys, here's the plan. It was going to be a lavish corporate party that he was hosting. I'm talking, this event was important to him. A chance to schmooze with the big wigs and climb the corporate ladder. It was the perfect setting for our plan. Public, yet intimate enough that the word would spread like wildfires. The first part of our plan was to ensure we both looked absolutely stunning. I'm talking dressed to the nines. We did aim to turn heads, including his, and I'm not going to toot my own horn much, but I know I look sexy. I arrived first, mingling with the guests, acting like, that dutiful wife. Chai, she arrived a bit later, her entrance timed absolutely to the T. The moment she walked in, I saw his face drop. There was a bit of recognition, then straight up panic. He hadn't expected his worlds to collide like this. As he nervously approached, trying to maintain his composure, I could see him calculating his next move, like a robot. But he was too late. We converged on him, flanking him like two avenging angels, and you could feel the confusion and curiosity in the room. Chai, with the calmness that bellied her inner turmoil, began to speak. Her voice was steady, but loud enough for nearby guests to hear, and she recounted their relationship, the lies he told, and how he had deceived both of us. The color drained from his face as she spoke, his eyes darting around the room, seeking an escape plan that wasn't there. Then it was my turn. I pulled out the divorce papers I've been carrying in my purse all evening. With as much poise as I could muster, I told him that our marriage is over, buddy, that I knew everything, and the whispers in the room grew louder and louder as I handed him the papers and his humiliation was complete. I'd say the look on his face was something I'll never forget. Yeah, that's for sure. Well, his world starting to crumble around him. The moment was cathartic. It was a release of pain I've wanted. I didn't enjoy his humiliation, but I did feel a sense of justice. Well, as we turned to leave, I could hear the room buzzing. I'm talking people looking, staring, whispering, talking, chatting, everything. It wasn't really pleasant, taking revenge, but I'd say it's necessary. Shy and I walked out together with our heads held high. Anyways, now, as I sat here, reflecting on everything that happened, I realized that this is just the beginning. The divorce process will be long and undoubtedly painful, but for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm back in control, and I'm going for him in the divorce, for everything. I'm talking alimony. I have proof of it all. Stay tuned. Update number 4. 6 weeks have flown by since the night I confronted my husband with Chai by my side. It feels like a lifetime ago, and yet the echoes of that night still linger. As I sit here reflecting on everything that's happened, I find myself wrestling with different feelings about it. I'll go ahead and let you guys know. The divorce is now finalized. The process, it was a grueling one. I'm talking anxiety, stress, all this process that tested my resilience. I didn't even know they needed to know all this information about me. Anyways, paperwork, yada yada, signature here, signature there. It's done. I'm no longer tied to a man who betrayed me, and there is a sense of closure that comes with that. I'm not a victim. I didn't let him just trample over me once I found out I did something about it. Anyways, I still don't really have a place, so I moved back with my parents. Yeah, that's a humbling experience, but also comforting because it's my family. I'd forgotten how much I missed them. How their presence brings a sense of calm and stability to my life. They're getting older, and this unexpected turn of events has given me the chance to spend more time with them, to cherish these moments that I've been taken for granted. Living with my parents has been a reminder of simple times. Well, despite everything, I don't regret the way I handled things with my husband. Exposing his betrayal, standing up for myself, it felt necessary. Anyways, I'm going to ask you guys this question. Am I the a-hole for getting revenge on my husband the way that I did? Comments from the original post and the updates. Comment number 1. Absolutely not the a-hole. You handled the situation like a champion. I'm around your age, and I totally get wanting to shake things up when you feel betrayed. It's tough to maintain composure, and honestly, exposing him in front of everybody took guts. Don't second-guess yourself. You did what you had to do. Comment number 2. You are the a-hole. Sorry, from my perspective, there's a dignified way to handle situations. Public humiliation, regardless of his action, stoops to a level of pettiness and immaturity. It's understandable to be hurt and seek closure, but revenge is not the answer. It tarnishes your own integrity. Reflect on this learning experience and try to find peace in a more constructive way. So we were able to see 2 perspectives from today's comments. One of the commenters says clearly not the a-hole in today's situation, but the other one was pointing out reasonings why they thought it was you are the a-hole. In my opinion, I don't think the public humiliation was enough to make OP the a-hole, so I'm going with the majority of people and saying not the a-hole. You can drop your thoughts and opinions down below, guys. This is Mr. Reddito's Revenge channel, where every story has something to do with revenge. And if you guys want to be a part of these daily stories, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I hope you enjoyed it, and if any of you have ever gotten your own revenge, even if it's not directly similar to today's story, and you want to share it, drop it down below. Let's talk about it, guys. I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow, and of course, remember, it's cool to be kind. See ya.